Alright, y'all, we're gonna have a little discussion about these new Nike MLB uniforms because they're not great. If you guys did not know, if you have not been informed, Nike is taking over Majestic's former spot of making the MLB official uniforms that they've had for quite some time now, and it's starting this year in 2020, this upcoming season. Nike is now going to be making all MLB uniforms. Now quickly, if you guys could leave a like down below on this video, it really does help me out, engages your interest if you want more real life MLB content. I know I really like doing it because I watch baseball anyway. I'm pretty knowledgeable about it, at least I would like to think. And as well, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure and drop a subscription. But let's get into this. So back in January, towards the end of January in 2019, Nike went ahead and made an announcement that they are going to be the primary uniform creator for Major League Baseball for the next 10 years, starting in 2020 and extending throughout 2029. Now, originally when I saw that story, it intrigued me because I had remembered seeing a previous story a couple years back that Under Armour was actually going to take over the responsibilities of creating the uniforms for the MLB. But alas, the deal fell through. Under Armour, who was posed to pretty much being in the same spot as Nike, starting in about the 2020 season making the uniforms for the MLB, it ended up they wanted to cut costs, and apparently they saved about $50 million. I guess the thing that makes sense to me is they might have thought they'd have more money and they would have the funds to financially create these uniforms, but they went ahead and checked again and they just could not compete. Which makes sense because Under Armour, while it is one of the top tier athletic gears that there is in the world right now, it still is obviously considerably lower than Nike, who is just the juggernaut of all. So then the MLB is posed with a situation. Majestic's deal is coming to an end. Under Armour fell through. So now Nike, who is already the primary uniform sponsor for the NBA and the NFL, comes forward and wants to make a deal. And as I previously stated, it obviously happened. Nike signed a deal, 10-year contract with the MLB, and here we are. So you might be thinking, why am I talking about this? Really, who the hell cares? You know, it's not that big of a deal who makes the jersey. Except it kind of is. One little thing that you might note within the MLB uniforms right now is there's no predominant sponsor on the chest like you see in the NFL and the NBA, which has the Nike uniform. Majestic doesn't have that. It's on the sleeve, so it's not that noticeable. But as I mentioned with the NFL and NBA, who is sponsored by Nike, Nike now coming over, there is going to be a nice big old Nike check on the chest on all MLB uniforms. And once again, you might be thinking, who cares? You know, is it really going to be that big of a deal? It kind of is. Now, a little bit ago, about a month, I would like to say, I remembered seeing this leak. It was from a Cincinnati Reds uniform. It looks to be like a team shop or something. And yeah, you can see the Nike check really messes with the logo. Like, you have the Reds word mark going across the chest. That looks fine, but it is way too close. It almost looks like it's part of the logo, and that's a big problem. Now, of course, like I said, this is a leak. It could not be the actual uniform they end up going with. It could be just like a rough design because they haven't actually showed us a official reveal for the teams what the uniforms will be in the 2020 season. But if it's anything like this, that's a big concern. You know, the Nike logo is so big and so close to the word mark, it almost looks like it's part of the actual logo, and it just looks off. You know, it almost looks like an accent, you know, like in the Spanish language. I think it's called like a tilde. If you've seen like the letter Nye, you know, like on Ronald Acuna, that thing over the N. Yeah, it kind of looks like that. It looks like it's supposed to be part of the R in Reds. Now, what I'm guessing happened here is when Nike and MLB made this deal, you know, remember, as I was saying with the NFL and the NBA, they already have that Nike check on the chest, and I know they do like soccer uniforms as well. They made sure that that was part of the deal, that the Nike check had to be on the actual jersey and pronounced predominantly and not subjected to just on the sleeve where it's not really as noticeable. Which makes sense. They're obviously pouring out a lot of money to be able to be the sponsor of the MLB uniforms, so they want their brand to be shown right there front and center. Now, once I saw the Cincinnati Reds uniform, the first thing that I thought of, how is this going to impact and how is it going to look on the most traditional uniform in all of sports, the New York Yankees? You know, this is the same team that was making headlines. You know, the players' weekend uniforms come around in August, and Yankee players, specifically, I know Brett Gardner spoke out about it, was kind of unhappy with how they had to change their uniforms and how it doesn't respect Yankee culture. And now that the uniform's going to be changed, having a check on there kind of messing with the vibes and just having something present that's never been prevalent on that uniform before, it's going to be weird, and I know a lot of people are not going to be happy about it. But to those who don't side with me, I understand. You know, at the end of the day, it is the same thing as the NBA and the NFL, and on the bright side, they're getting Nike as a sponsor and maker of their uniforms, and we all know Nike makes quality products. But then there's other things that you have to think about as well. For example, something I've recently thought of is with the NBA in the last couple of years, since Nike took over, they've adopted actual advertisements that they've put on the opposite chest of their uniform. And you have to think, what if that comes into the MLB? And you might think, well, the MLB is too traditional, they wouldn't do that. They just put a check on their uniforms, didn't they? And this is the NBA, who has just exploded in popularity recently. Basketball has never been more popular than it is now, and they're still looking for more opportunities to increase revenue. So then you get baseball, who is actually down in attendance rate from the last couple of years. Maybe that's an avenue where they want to look to recoup some of those costs. One thing I do want to mention, the Nike president said, and quote, "We're thrilled to bring more innovation and creativity to Major League Baseball and the athletes who play the game." Now that's important because remember, since Nike took over the NBA uniforms, they've went ahead and used their creative liberties, worked with the teams, and they've had a bunch of new creative expressions on how the team has looked from past. You know, for example, the NBA has brought out these city uniforms and they update them every single year. And you got to think with that kind of comment, they're likely considering bringing in something similar to Major League Baseball. And that, of course, can be good or bad. They made all NBA teams adopt a new uniform and have to wear it at certain times. And yes, you have the more traditional teams like the Boston Celtics, which of course that, you know, uniform that is so tried and true to their team, they still had to alter it a bit. And then you look at teams like the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Yankees, teams that don't really change their uniforms, we could see alterations. But then again, that doesn't mean it's all that bad, because personally, I'm a big fan of what Nike was doing with the NBA uniforms. I like that they have new changes and new uniforms just to bring, you know, some new life into the game. I don't think that's a bad idea, and I do think that is also a way to get more people interested, and of course, it's gonna make Nike and MLB more money, so everybody wins. All in all, this is very mixed reactions within me. I do think the Nike check, especially if it is as big and as close to the word mark as it is within that Cincinnati Reds logo, I think it's going to be a big problem, and I think it is definitely going to take a lot of getting used to if we ever become comfortable with it. Like I said, it just looks off. It doesn't look like it belongs there, and especially if it's that big and pronounced on a team like the Yankees uniforms, a team like the Red Sox uniforms, I'm worried it's going to get a lot of people upset, and it's going to create some interesting things for sure. But then again, having Nike on board could be pretty cool. Nike is now going to be making all of the team apparel, so like all the hoodies, sweatshirts that you see that they're wearing in warm-ups, those are all going to be manufactured by Nike, and everything that you buy is going to be sourced through Fanatics, and it's going to be Nike branded. So I think it can be good, but also I'm definitely cautious on how this is going to roll out. Let me know down below in the comment section, what do you guys think specifically about that Cincinnati Reds uniform first? How would you feel if that's what uniforms kind of look like, if the check is that big and if it's so close to the word mark or logo across the chest? Is that a cause of concern for you, or are you more so okay with it? And then in general, how do you feel about Nike now becoming the primary sponsor and manufacturer of all MLB uniforms? Do you think that could be good for the MLB, or do you think it could be bad? But at the end of the day, whether you're happy, unhappy, or kind of mixed reactions like myself, it doesn't really matter. It's a 10-year contract. It's not going anywhere soon, so we're kind of all going to have to get used to it, even if we don't like it. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Also, if you guys would like to see more interactive live MLB in real life content, also let me know down below in the comment section. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and hope you guys are great today. Gomes out. Yeet.
Love is love, and hate is hate. To die is an awesome adventure, and I can hardly wait. earth is a prison, I need a great escape. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone. You know I'm in my zone. I took a bite of the glory.